VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today. Sean Farnham on college basketball in 30 minutes from ESPN. Jeff Seeley, best bets on the PGA Tour this week in an hour. Derek Stevens with a big announcement on this show a little bit later on. We'll get into the big NBA card tonight here in a minute, including Luka and the revenge game against the Mavericks. Huge college basketball card, updated bracketology as well. Mel Kiper dropped a mock today. And DraftKings, they have updated the betting menu with the NFL draft and their props. So we'll take a peek at that coming up. And do you concur as well? How you feeling today? Good?
Yep.
Ready to rock and roll?
Yep. No jackpot, but I feel good.
Did not play any after the show last night, so I have no update for anybody. We'll see if I can keep it going maybe later on tonight or tomorrow. So here's the deal, Pauly. Last night, the books across the country, they were very quick to post props with Luka, and this game in general has been on the board for a long time, and other books opened up much shorter than where it's at right now, which is the Lakers -9 with a total of around 232 for tonight. 231's come down a little bit now. I made notes here with Luka's props because I wanted to see where these were going to go. I assumed that they were going to go up. The very first numbers that I saw last night, made threes, 3.5 over was -125. That got earlier this morning as high as -150 and over 3.5. His points prop, I find this very interesting. His points prop opened 30.5. Shot up to 31.5, and then there's this note at DraftKings. They tweeted this out right before the show. 64% of bets and the money is on Luka to go under 31.5, -125, even though it took off in that direction. And every other number tonight, right? The rebounds, the assists, and the points, rebounds, and assists combined. That opened 47.5, got as high as 49.5 this morning. So you probably knew that books were going to post these numbers very high to begin with, and that bettors were going to gravitate towards betting every single over because of the revenge spot here.
I think the statement game is when he goes to Dallas in April. I think this is, I want to stick it to you. I want to win the game. And first things first, let's get a W. And we're just coming off that big win against Denver. So I kind of agree with betting the points under. And then also he's been deferring a lot and getting his teammates involved and then unsure of himself and wanting to fit in. And certainly the conditioning has played a role, coming back and missed all that time since December. I think the threes, I think all these are high. The one thing I do like globally is will he get a technical as 6-1?
Yeah.
He got teed up in the last game, and he certainly likes to complain and yell at the officials, especially if he's not getting any calls. So you're seeing as high as 9.5 now. But I kind of agree with the public here that I would look more at LeBron, who's been unbelievable in this run, and how well Reeves is playing, and just say, you got the blowout scenario too. What if they spank him and he's on the bench in the fourth quarter, which could happen. So I think let's take their soul and let's blow them out is more, I'm going to stick it to you, go for 40. And the latter stuff is interesting too. But I think that's more of the case is when he goes to Dallas in April.
Yeah, he's probably going to go scorched earth at that point. And in that month, when they go back there and play in Dallas, you're going to figure that he's going to have another, 6 weeks in that range of conditioning. So, and he might be on a tear going into that game. So would that point prop be like 33.5 when he goes back? Mm-hmm. And that's the ultimate angle there. I'd like to be a fly on the wall, right? And maybe be on a group text between their players and J.J. Redick. Are the other guys going to want to defer to Luka tonight? And you can bet his first quarter prop with the points is 8.5. Like, did they just say, all right, buddy, the floor is yours tonight. Time to shine. Let's make it happen. We're going to set you up, and we're going to get you a dozen shots in the first quarter. And then, maybe it does turn into a blowout because the Mavericks are not at full strength. And at some point, the minutes aren't going to be there, and he could stay under the 31.5.
Yeah. Triple-double, 3-1. And then if you can ladder it, and if he gets... But still, that's not good enough for me that he gets 40 points and it's only 3-1 in that range, right?
Yeah, and
I don't think that's enough because also look at the balance. That's what Reddick wants. He wants all these guys involved, and they played the perfect game against Denver. All those guys scored 20 points, and Hachimura was great too. So I think that's what he envisions of let's get everyone involved and use your teammates, and let's play like that as a unit. I thought that was fantastic what they did. And the other thing is what happens defensively if this continues, which number one defense in the league the last 15 games.
Right.
But will he penetrate that and go to because there's no rim protection now. There's no Gafford, there's no Lively, there's no AD.
So in theory, again, he could post up whoever he wants in this game.
Yeah.
Pretty much the entire time and say, okay, I'm just going to get whatever I want here in this spot, and nobody's going to be able to guard me. Is it going to be Max Christie who's going to be on him? He's going to come off the bench.
Yes, I know.
And so he's going to have to be the guy who's involved in that trade to maybe defend Luka a little bit tonight. I would also not be playing over 49.5 points, rebounds, and assists at this point for reasons we've already talked about.
Yeah.
That's a Joker number almost. That's a Luka number from last year when he's playing every game and playing 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So you asked me yesterday where I'm at with the Lakers, and I think they're a contender. A lot of people are taking the wait-and-see approach, and I understand because it's Minnesota. It's back-to-back home games against the Clippers, the Knicks. Then they go on the East Coast, and it's Boston, the Nets, Milwaukee, Denver again. And you go to Memphis and Houston. It's a tough schedule in March. Where are you at with the Lakers? Do you need to see more?
No, I don't. No.
You think second-best team in the West?
Remember,
third?
We laughed at what there was a book that moved the number to 10-1 to win the NBA title after the trade? Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
That's way too low. But then other books were still offering in that 7 to 9-1 range just to win the West. And then when you thought about it for a minute, well, really, who is the second best team in the Western Conference? And you can throw Denver at me, you can throw Houston, you can throw Memphis, you can throw even some other teams at me if you would like. The Clippers, I'm not buying that. But if it comes down to it and the Lakers have to play, we'll leave OKC out of the equation for 1 second. When the Lakers have to play any of these teams in the playoffs in a 7-game series, assuming full health, and they're going to be able to throw LeBron and Luka in better shape.
Right.
And you said yesterday how much you love Austin Reeves. I'm right there with you. And Hachimura playing like this, are they really going to be outclassed by more than one team in the Western Conference?
Right. And the other thing people are forgetting about, these guys that they had that were injured and weren't doing anything. Vincent was a good player when Miami was making postseason runs. He's got it going. Vanderbilt, not a bad player. The Finney-Smith trade, huge. You got that stench and stink out of there with Russell, who can't guard you.
Big.
And was just a chucker. That was big as well. So to get Finney-Smith and a guy who only made one shot in the Denver game, but a guy like Vanderbilt and Finney-Smith who can defend, and you get a guy like Vincent who can knock down threes, now you got a good team. Now you got a complete team and a team that's playing defense.
Yeah, and by the way, there's another team here I didn't even bring up, and I'm not trying to overreact based on last night or the last couple of times that they played Oklahoma City. But based on what they did last year and when they come back and they're maybe fully healthy, the Timberwolves could still be a threat. I mean, Edwards didn't do much last night in that game, but that dude is awesome. And look at what has happened here with Naz Reid. They knew. They knew the backup on that team was potentially better than Karl Anthony Towns, and Naz Reid is. He's right there with him. The guy's fantastic, and he was awesome again last night. I don't know. Maybe the Wolves are going to be in the Western Conference Finals again this year.
Oh, that's aggressive. I don't see.
I know it's very aggressive, but
I don't see that. But are they going to avoid the play-in? That's the one thing, because Golden State's schedule is so easy, and we'll see if Dallas can stay healthy and win games too. Maybe it's the Clippers who fall back as well as they keep losing games. It's going to be interesting, but an incredible comeback and win.
So I'll tell you about another a prop that I have bet tonight. I have 3 of them. They're all up on the picks page at VSiN.com. Celtics are playing at the Raptors. Boston 23-6 straight up on the road, best in the league, but only 14-14-1 ATS. Derek White is 36-18 over 14.5 points and 36-18 over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He has had 35, 28, and 35 in his 3 most recent games. Points, rebounds, and assists. I played that over 23.5. And I also, in the same game, R.J. Barrett. Now, Quickly's back here. And I think you need to be careful betting Grady Dick because of Quickly's return, and he's been awesome. In his last 5 games, 20, 23, 15, 23, and 23 points. The player that has not affected is R.J. Barrett. He's only played in 4 February games. He's averaging 25 points, 5.5 assists, and 4.8 rebounds. Barrett has played Boston twice this year. In January, he had 22, 10, and 8. And in November, he had 25, 15, and 10. So I played Barrett over tonight. 30.5 was the number of points, rebounds, and assists.
Very good. I like Memphis, 14-5 ATS off a loss. We talked about the horrible chemistry and how that's a toxic locker room with the Suns. They continue to lose games. The only win was against the awful Bulls, and that was close, which featured a bad beat in that game too, by the way, foul at the end. And I also like the Pelicans to come back and take out the Spurs, who know the season's over, with Wembanyama out for the year as well. And they just blitzed them the other night.
Zion played really well in that game. Mm-hmm. I think Zion's probably going to have a good game again tonight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Spurs, that Wemby, obviously, injury had to happen right after. Where were you, by the way? I think that trade happened when we started vacation or right after it? When you had a couple
of days. The injury, you mean?
Well, no, right before that. Where were you in your head with the Spurs right after they landed Fox?
I thought they could make a run and get in the play-in.
Same here.
I'm very disappointed with how bad they were playing.
Yep.
They lost to Charlotte. Yep, absolutely. Sports betting never slows down. We got the madness. We have the Masters. We have the playoffs, NBA, NHL, draft all around the corner. Right around the corner, as little as $9.99. Get the daily email with Bill 80, every pick, every host, every guest. Don't place your bets unprepared. You need it just for the prop analyzer and also Wes Reynolds golf picks. Full access today, $9.99, VSiN.com/subscribe. Join the team now.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, we're going to hit some college basketball. Keep in mind, Sean Farnham in about 20 minutes on ESPN. We will discuss a game in which one team is catching a ton of points, but they have gotten absolutely smashed on the road almost all year long in conference play. Details on that spot coming up next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
So, Pauly, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Fills in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
On the next A Numbers Game, let's talk some college hoops. Three-Man Weave joins us, specifically Maddie Cox from Three-Man Weave. We'll talk about college hoops tonight and on the way into the conference tournaments, the home stretch of the regular season. Jason Weingarten with all of his plays from Under a Cloud of Smoke. Jonathan Von Tobel will join us, our senior NBA analyst, all things NBA and beyond. And it is the 97th Academy Awards this weekend. Brian Ortega with all of his picks. It's A Numbers Game, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here at VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Big college basketball card tonight. They always load it up on Tuesdays. Certainly helps. That's when the SEC plays a lot of their games, and the conference is a juggernaut this year. So Miss State is playing at Alabama. This stretch for Bama, and we're going to get into this with Sean Farnham coming up in a little bit, is absolutely bonkers. On the heels of beating Kentucky at home last Saturday, 96-83, but that was after losses to Missouri and Auburn. They host a really good Miss State team tonight. They're laying 8.5 in this game, and they just have to basically, because their power rating is so high, when they're playing teams like this, Pauly, they have to win by margin every single game. Mm-hmm. That's tough to pull off.
Yep, I know, and the total moved 3 points as well. But I don't want an under in an Alabama game, and I love how they responded after being down early to Kentucky. I just think that they'll get the money here and get the cover as well. And some teams relish this, right? It's like, okay, let's go. Let's embrace this tough schedule and let's show people. And I'm sure they're talking about seeding as well, that they can keep this going and continue to stack up wins.
After this, they play at Tennessee, Florida at home, and they close with Auburn on the road.
Yep.
Ken Pum has them losing all 3 games.
Wow.
If that were to happen, I think they can kiss their 1 seed goodbye, although
sure.
all those teams are awesome, obviously, and that's where I think Houston would be able to slide into the mix. Bama's 11-2 straight up at home, only 7-6 ATS.
Yep, you're right. These are great games because of how strong the conference is, and another one, too, with Florida. So updated bracketology, it doesn't look good for Georgia, but Florida 24-3 and number 4 in Ken Pom and 4th in offense and 7th in defense. I love how they take teams out in the second half, too. So whatever the halftime adjustments have been, whatever they're saying in the locker room has been gold, and bottle that. Because there's a lot of games where they've had so-so performances in the first half, and they come out and they blitz you. And they probably have the best win of the season going into Auburn.
I would agree with that.
Taking them out. So that's one where, even though Georgia needs it and they're strong at home, I don't want to go against Florida right now in the Gators.
The number has been ping-ponging back and forth. Got as high as 7.5 earlier today. Now on the odds screen, they're looking at 6.5. To your point about the Bulldogs at home, 13-3 straight up, 10-6 ATS. They have home wins over Kentucky, Oklahoma. They lost to Auburn by 2, and they beat Mississippi State. And they lost to Miss State by 1. So they are a totally different team at home. But I think Florida's almost spot-proof.
Yep, I agree.
It's an incredible basketball team.
Mm-hmm. The SEC has been kind of spot-proof. You didn't even get those look-aheads with Bama and Auburn.
All right.
And coming off big wins, that hasn't happened. Let me give you one I love. Can I do that?
Of course.
I love the Aztecs tonight. And a lot of this is based into program history. So New Mexico made the tournament last year. Good team, embarrassed themselves, right? Run out in the first round. Good team this year, better team. I'm sold. And they swept Utah State, and they're huge favorites to win the Mountain West. The problem is they played out of their competition. That's only negative. They lost to San Jose State. They lost to New Mexico State. I think they were a 20-point favorite in that game. But I go back to the track record here in the program. Last 4 byes, Lenardi has San Diego State in. They do have the win over Houston, but I'm missing something here. I don't think the resume is that strong. We just had the same scenario play out last week. They were 2.5 at home to Boise. Blitzed them. Mm-hmm. Blew them out. So here, I'm gonna respect the program and the Aztecs in a tough place to play and think they get the win, and $1.40 on the money line I think is a good bet for the Aztecs, who need it to solidify a spot in the tournament as an at-large and get that huge win over the Lobos. And I just go back to history where this is a game New Mexico doesn't win, and this is a game that San Diego State always gets. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's by margin tonight, the late game.
I took New Mexico when they were catching 5.5 at Boise last week. That number got to 5.5.
Yeah, it was telling you something, right?
And they were winning in the first half.
Yeah.
They trailed by a couple of points at halftime, and they were basically blown out until the final minutes of the second half. And it was a loser. Mm-hmm. So tonight, and I'm looking at projections right now, Ken Pom has San Diego State by 4. 3 other spots have it San Diego State favored in the game. Yeah. Tyler Shoemaker here at VSiN actually makes New Mexico 1.5.
Well, we've lived it for 25 years, and we used to cover this league and the conference tournament. I mean, this is a game that this program always wins. And if they beat me, if I lose tonight, so be it. And I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. Boise State is 3.5 at home to Utah State. Tough place to play.
Yep.
Got the big one over New Mexico. They're on the bubble. If they win out, strong case. I just think Boise will also get the to win and cover tomorrow against Utah State, covering this league for a long time.
I'll give you this one. Iowa plays at Illinois tonight in the Big Ten. And the Illini here, recent games, it has not gone well. Blown out against Wisconsin, blown out against Duke at Madison Square Garden over the weekend, giving up a zillion points, right? In these matchups, the total is super high tonight. They're laying double figures. And on the flip side, Iowa, they are 2-5 ATS on the road. Here are some of their recent games. Lost 116-85 at Wisconsin. Lost 99-89 at USC. 94-70 at UCLA. 82-65 at Ohio State. And 101-75 at Maryland. The one recent road win they have came earlier this month when they beat Rutgers by 11 on the road. But all those other teams are better than Rutgers, and they absolutely pounded them in those games. Now, the Illini, the problem here has been the sickness spreading throughout the entire team, and also the injuries. So they're supposed to have some guys back tonight, but not at full strength. And how much does that weigh into you actually liking that side and the number for them compared to how just straight up bad Iowa is this year?
Yep, and embarrassed themselves on national TV for the world to see. That's flagging everyone, dunking on them. So to be honest with you, I didn't even look at some of these games. Just in terms of, I'm not going to play them because some of them are marquee matchups, but I love VCU. Good team. Hot run, 15.5-point favorite. I like Marquette, laying 13.5. Love Duke, 22.5. This game, double digits. Tennessee, double digits.
Right.
I mean, those are games just like the spreads are too high.
I would have made, maybe going back a good month, I would have liked LSU. I don't think the number would have been this high. They are 11-5 straight up at home, but only 8-8 ATS. They were much better at home earlier in the year. Recent games, blown out by Florida in the second half. That was their last game. Lost to Ole Miss, blown out by Texas all this month. So I can't get there with LSU because Tennessee, when they play to their A game.
And they shoot threes well, right?
Oh, forget about it then. Like that team can win the whole thing. I think the biggest, the one that I've heard more people make the case for tonight, and I can't get there, a lot of people betting Santa Clara. I'm not going to be one of them.
It's up to 7.
Well, okay.
When's the last time Gonzaga played a regular season Tuesday night game, too, by the way?
Okay, it was down to 5.5 not that long ago.
Right. Yep. I think the power ratings, I've been saying it, and you were on vacation, too. Their power ratings out of whack. It doesn't make any sense. Bart Torvik has them 14th best team in the country. What are you watching?
But how about this? He's only got him winning by 1.7 points tonight.
They better be careful because right now they're a 9 seed. So they have this game, and then they go to San Francisco. And then if you stub your toe early out here in the conference tournament, they don't have a strong case. The resume stinks. I mean, they had a couple nice wins early. Other than that, lost to West Virginia, blew that game. Lost to Connecticut. Lost to UCLA. Lost to Santa Clara at home. Lost to Oregon State. Huge favorites in these games. Tied at halftime, laying 14 against San Francisco. Swept by St. Mary's.
Right.
You better win this game. And I got to see what your A game looks like. I don't know what it is, but I better see it tonight. Because, again, you got beat on national TV. The title's already going to St. Mary's. That never happens. They get swept by St. Mary's. So if they lose this game, and now it becomes squeaky bum time if you're going to get an at-large.
Yeah. Well, maybe the best of the bunch tonight is Baylor at Cincinnati. And every projection that I have in front of me, Ken Palm, Bart Torvik, Eric Haslam, Tyler Shoemaker here at VSiN, Kenny White, they have like a 1.5 point game. Bearcats got up to 2.5. I don't know, maybe Bearcats money line, or if it keeps going up, maybe take Baylor plus like 3. Close game, probably a 1-possession game.
Yeah, Baylor's off that bad loss, too.
Yeah, they are. What did you notice with the latest bracketology for Lenardi?
Big move for Oregon, up to a 5 seed. Even though they have a lot of losses, as you talked about, number 2 in quad 1 wins. BYU, up to an 8 seed. Gonzaga falls to a 9. And we'll talk to Sean Farnham coming up. Is a mid-major going to get an at-large? It doesn't look good for Drake and UC San Diego. Last 4 in. Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Wake. Oklahoma's 4-10 in league play. First 4 out. Indiana, SMU, Xavier, North Carolina. Good thing you're sitting down. North Carolina against quad 1 teams. 1-10. What are we doing? You got to win games. I don't care what league you play in and how strong it is. This is asinine.
Paul, the first thing I looked at today when he popped with the bracketology was first 4 out and then next 4 out, right? I wanted to see how many mid-majors were there. 0.
Yeah.
Not 1.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I don't think a mid-major is going to get an at-large. I mean, 4-10 in league play. 1 in 10 against quad 1 teams. Make money daily. Don't leave money on the table. You love betting. Get your money back in your pocket with Edge Boost. Card never declined. Pays you for deposits. Edge Boost has your back. The first ever bank account built for bettors. All your gambling-related transactions will be approved. No more headaches. High rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card. Unlimited withdrawals. You love that. 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. And every time you deposit to a gambling account, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5 percentage point. This is a bank account, not a credit card. No approval required or credit checks. Go now. EdgeBoost.bet, code FTM. EdgeBoost.bet, code FTM. Start at Tier 2 for faster bank transfers and higher cash back rewards. We love it. Join now. Tell your friends Edge Boost.
Sean Farnham, ESPN up next. Alabama, middle of a gauntlet. When does it start to catch up with them?
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More college basketball here. Sean Farnham joins the program from ESPN. Does a great job on the network every year with this sport, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Sean, a pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys doing today?
Doing really well. This gauntlet continues tonight for Alabama, fresh off a win at home against Kentucky, but it's been mean over the last month, and it continues to be that way down the stretch. They're playing like top 20, top 25 teams every single night. Their power rating's super high, so they're a big favorite. Like tonight, they're 8.5. At what point, though, does that catch up with a team, right, when they just have to play machine after machine after machine every single game?
You know, we go through this kind of conversation every time of the year we get here, you know, whether it's been the Big 12, who has recently, leading up to this year, I think it was like 10 out of the last 12 years, had been the number one ranked conference in all of college basketball. And we'd say, okay, well, what's the gauntlet do for Baylor? What's the gauntlet do against Kansas? And then we see how they perform in the NCAA tournament. I think it's a wait and see what the gauntlet that is the SEC, what that will mean for Alabama when they get to the NCAA tournament. But I am not one that jumped off the Alabama Final Four train because they lost to Auburn at home and then went on the road and lost to Missouri. That didn't scare me. Mm-hmm. I think when you look at this team and you look at the makeup of this team, when they get into the NCAA tournament, they're going to be a problem for somebody. And, you know, you look down the stretch here, they've got the game against Mississippi State tonight, and then they play 3 top 5 teams to get to the SEC tournament. I'm not worried about them as far as, you know, the health-wise, you know, that's always a concern heading in to the NCAA tournament, but I'm not like overly concerned. I mean, were we concerned last year when they lost 4 out of their final 6 games, gave up 105 points to Florida, gave up 102 the second time they played Florida and got swept by the Gators? Did we all of a sudden get like super concerned about them? Probably not. And all they did was just go run through the NCAA tournament and play excessively well. So I think the experience of this team, I think Mark Sears and his ability to score, his understanding of leadership and what's going to be asked of him, this is an Alabama team that will be fine when it gets when their name pops up on Selection Sunday, and is one of, you know, 8-9 teams in college basketball that you really look at and say they could be a Final Four team.
Very good answer. You're going to be at the Big 12 conference tournament. Is this getting enough attention that Houston could go 19-1 in league?
No. I think this is one of Kelvin Sampson's best coaching jobs he's ever had, and he's had some great years. You know, and remember when they made the transition a season ago, and everybody's like, you know, they're coming from the American. We're going to, you know, the Big 12 is going to be way different. Mm-hmm. How'd they do? Yeah, they just won the regular season title, and here we are again. They've already locked up at least a share of the regular season title this year in the Big 12, and to do it after losing Jamal Shead. And we saw, no one can tell me that, by the way, if Jamal Shead was healthy in the NCAA tournament last year, that Houston might not have been a team that could have finished off this entire thing last year. Yep. They were that good. But Shead goes out with the injury, and his level of importance at the point guard position, in particular in Coach Sampson's system, where you rely so much on the point guard, that was glaring. Then you go get Uzan this year from Oklahoma, the transfer from Oklahoma. You start the season 4-3. They were up double digits on Alabama. They were up double digits in the second half on Auburn. They end up losing both those games, and everybody's kind of like jumping off the Houston bandwagon. I was there that following week after the Players Era Invitational in that first week of December, and Coach Sampson was on Uzan as much as I've ever seen him on any player, talking about his competitiveness, challenging him at every single possession, offensively, defensively, and just, it's not good enough. This doesn't work here. You're not getting this. You don't understand. And now you watch him play, and very easily he could be the reason why they could end up winning the national championship when this thing is all said and done. And his numbers keep getting better and better throughout the course of the year. He values the basketball. He's averaging almost 5 assists per game. And the transformation of who he is as a player, he's averaging more points than he did at Oklahoma. He's averaging more assists. He's averaging fewer turnovers. He's shooting the ball better, almost 43% from beyond the arc. Big-time game last night against Texas Tech where he had 22 points. I think this is a Houston team that, unlike previous Houston teams where we look at and say, okay, they go through some lulls offensively, they don't really go through too many lulls offensively right now. They've got multiple shooters out on the floor at all points in time. Everybody has a defined role, and they know what's expected of them, and they play to that role every single night.
Another great answer. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Sean Farnham from ESPN, and he is on the Progressive guest line. The ceiling this year for Rick Pitino and St. John's, assuming they get like in that 3-4 number, of course, is all going to come down to matchups and who's going to be in their bracket. But overall, and they probably played their best game of the entire year this last weekend against UConn. They were awesome. If they're hitting shots like that, who the hell knows how far they're going to go. But can you see them as a legit like Final Four team as well?
For sure. I mean, if they hit shots, that's the big question mark, right? Can they hit shots? They are disruptive, and their rotations are so good at the defensive end of the floor. They rebound the ball with a level of aggression that you need to have. I think the St. John's team is very well positioned to make a substantial run in the NCAA tournament. They are Final Four good right now. The schedule coming up for them works really well. They've passed the UConn hurdle now twice. They've taken care of business against Creighton. They split those two games that they had against them. It's smooth sailing ahead for them until they get to that Marquette game, the final game of the regular season for them. But what I love is just the competitive nature of this team. They embody, they often say you are who your coach is. This team has that Pitino grit to them. And Kadari Richmond has been absolutely sensational with his ability to impact the game, whether it's scoring, whether it's assists, whether he's being active and getting steals. Every single game, he is making his presence felt. And to me, I think he's just been outstanding. And I think this is a team that if you're looking, again, we talk very select group of teams that kind of have that makeup of being so efficient at the defensive end and offensively what you want. They need to get a little bit tighter at the offensive end as far as I'm concerned to have that national championship criteria. But certainly they make up for it defensively and their second chance points and how they rebound the basketball.
They play tonight. They're a 7-point favorite. You've had them many times. What do you think of Gonzaga, who got as high as number 3 in the country, and now your colleague Joe Lunardi has them a 9 seed?
Yeah, I think this is a team that has struggled with consistencies. I think unlike many Gonzaga teams that we've seen in the past, Mark Few, when he looks down the bench, has no clue what he's getting out of certain players that he needs to rely on. And because of that, you have some inconsistencies. They do not shoot the ball nearly as well as we've seen other Gonzaga teams shoot it in recent memory. Here's the thing, though. You look at their losses. They're almost all single-digit losses. They're in every single game. It's 1 or 2 possessions here or there. The first St. Mary's game falls into that slice. You look at the loss to Santa Clara the last time they played. Santa Clara hit, I think, 18 3-point shots. Now, Santa Clara, for those that are listening to your program that may not know, may not watch the Broncos, just made 23 3-pointers on the road against Washington State and shot 61% doing so. Just think about that, though. It's like 23 3-pointers on the road is unheard of.
Yeah.
And then to do it at a 61% clip, they got dudes that could really shoot the ball. Herb Sendek's team is well organized and has a clear understanding. For Gonzaga, you're looking at right now sitting at a 9. You still have both these 2 games this weekend in the Bay Area. Tonight at Santa Clara, and then the one on Saturday it's at the Chase Center, technically speaking, a neutral floor. But both are quad 1 games according to net rankings. So your anticipation, given Mark Few, is that they will understand the assignment and that they will come out and impose their will on this game. Alpha Adama Ball has missed time. I think that's substantial. In particular, in this game, you can get away with that a little bit if you're Santa Clara. In some of these other matchups, Carlos Stewart has played very well. But Alpha Adama Ball, the leading scorer for them, had been dealing with an ankle injury. I don't know his availability tonight, but that would certainly impact the game and how I view it.
Yeah, and I'm guessing we do this every single year. And, Sean, we have like 90 seconds left here. But Gonzaga is currently like on that 8-9 line. The teams with them in that spot, New Mexico, UConn, Creighton, BYU, Utah State, they feel to me like they're super dangerous 8-9 teams this year.
There are, and part of that is because of where we were at the very start of the season. If you go back to the preseason poll and you look at the national rankings, Kansas, number 1, not ranked. Number 3, UConn, not ranked. Number 6, Gonzaga, not ranked. Number 8, Baylor, not ranked. North Carolina, not ranked. Those are 5 teams in the top 10 that aren't even ranked in the top 25 as we sit here at the end of February. And a lot of that has to do with the transfer portal, how guys have fit into roles or have not fit into roles, and subsequently leading to some inconsistencies out on the floor.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, that was awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for the time.
No worries, guys. Have a good show.
There you go. Sean Farnham, Dynamite with the coverage on ESPN with college basketball. He's going to be out here in Las Vegas for the West Coast. And then right after that, he's going to go to the Big 12 tournament as well for like 4 days.
The SEC, Big 10, and Big 12 tournaments are going to be crazy.
Oh, so good. So good. We're going to be live on the air for most of it that week. Win, lose up next. We have to discuss what happened last night in the Oklahoma City game. First time in history of the league, a team came back and won in the situation the Wolves were in. Details on that next here on VSiN.
Got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
T-Wolves 5-1 on the money line. What were they in play, as you tweeted? Who knows? Down 25 points. They come back to beat OKC. That's the first time in history that's happened, and a team was down 25 against a team with a winning percentage 800 or higher. Coming back to win. They were down 15 with 3 minutes and change. OKC doesn't score the rest in regulation. They lose in overtime. Oh,
they were down 82-57. They were down 102-80 to begin the third quarter. They pulled their starters in the game.
Oh, my God.
And they outscored Oklahoma City. I gave up on the game. Outscored them 41-19.
Yeah.
I clicked back to see how bad it was for a win for Oklahoma City, assuming that they covered the game. And I'm like, wait a second. There's no way that score, my app, is accurate. I had to go to like 2 different apps. I'm like, what?
Couldn't believe the fourth quarter. Yep. What a block by Ant in overtime on SGA, too. This was hilarious. Bulls 2-1 on the money line, and the over 227.5 up to 234.5. The Bulls pound the Sixers on the road 142-110. They were up 50. They led by 50. I guess that's it for Philly now. Let's try to keep our draft pick, and we'll shut down Embiid. Oh, my God, that's embarrassing. The Bulls stink. Down 50 at home to that squad. Okay. No Vucevic in the game. Sixers took money. Closed a 6-point favorite.
It was happening at the tail end of our show yesterday.
Oh.
Right? They announced that he was out for the game. The line was going up on Philadelphia. And I guess, I mean, will they, like, what's going to possibly happen to their numbers moving forward? There is absolutely no reason to play for the playoff spot this year.
Yeah. Now 2.5 games behind the Bulls. Hawks +2, went off a 2-point favorite, beat Miami by 12. Pistons +1 to -3.5 in the under, 223.5 to 219.5. 106.97 against the Clippers. Houston 1.5 up to 4.5. Won and covered against Texas Tech. Northwestern State +275 on the money line. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. We put this on X yesterday. The story that Mitch is on a heater, and Sherapan chimed in. There's a good feeling when you get it dealt. Aces and a kicker dealt on triple-double 5-play. Quarters, $5,000. Thanks for sharing. Send them in, too. Your biggest video poker hits.
Yeah, that would be... That's not the multiplier games that we were talking about yesterday, the Ultimate X, but still, that's enough to be like, okay, never going to top that.
Right. Send them in, ftm@vsin.com, or tweet at us as well, your biggest video poker hits. Lose some. Sixers, 2.5 up to 6. 1-13 ATS is a home favorite. Lost 8 in a row and 11 of 12.
Oh.
They're on an 0-9 ATS run as well. They play the Knicks tomorrow. Giddy up. Blazers +1 to -7. Won by 2. Nets Wizards over 213.5 up to 218. No good. Southeast Louisiana 4.5 up to 7. They lost to Northwestern State. Couple lose some videos. Look at what these dogs did to the house. Thanks to people who sent this in on Instagram. Oh, the Rottweilers. They wrecked the couch and they just ripped through everything. The couch, the garbage, the pillows. It doesn't end, and the look on their face, I did that. Look what they did to the couch. It's gone. It's in pieces. 2 of them. Oh, okay, don't leave me alone. I'll show you. I mean, it is everywhere. Number one, boy, they tore that thing apart.
I don't even know, where to begin.
I know.
What would you do to the dogs?
Yeah. He's like, guys, what'd you do? I mean, it's one thing if, we lost the couch. I mean, it got into everything. Look at their faces. One guy knows, okay, I'm sorry. The other guy's wagging his tail. I mean, it is everywhere. Garbage, pillows, couch, disintegrated, gone.
The only solution you have is to, crate them from this day moving forward, right?
Yeah. A little training, I know.
I'm not a big fan of that, but...
I know. That's a tough one. Look at this guy. This guy's got it all figured out. And it's raining outside?
Oh, yeah, we played this one last week.
Oh, did you?
That's so good.
Okay. It's raining. He jumps in the pool. He's trying to eat the water. But they're coming down. He's doing cannonballs, jumping in. I'm going back. Oh, this is great.
It's heaven for him.
It is. That is awesome. Oh, excellent. The bad beats. You mentioned the Thunder. Couldn't cover the 11.5. Up 25 and then up 15 with 3:45 left. How are you that good? I have that much talent, and you don't score the rest of the game. And the Sharks, 4-1 on the money line. They led 1-0 with a minute left. They lost 2-1 in overtime. The Jets are the first team in NHL history to be trailing with less than a minute and win back-to-back games. And they're the first team in NHL history to win 9 games in a row with 30 shots on goal or fewer. Huh.
I think that number, so I think it was right before they dropped the puck, I saw Winnipeg get to 550.
Yeah.
In the game.
Wow.
So Sharks would have been higher than 4 at some spots, I would think. And that's sick if you had them in the game last night.
Yep. Want to know where the money's going? Only VSiN gives you exclusive access to betting splits from Circa and DraftKings. Unlike other sources, our betting splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight into where the sharp action's landing. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. DraftKings provides a broader market perspective. You're getting the real action, not just public money, but the kind of wagers that move lines. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport. Get that with the betting splits and join us now. $9.99 for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe. Great offer. $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
So a couple of things, again, regarding that Oklahoma City-Minnesota game last night. One, I'll start here, and I'll tie in the Dallas Mavericks. I think if Anthony Davis can get back and be healthy and that team were to make the playoffs, I think the Mavericks could be a team to give the Thunder a little bit of trouble. The other team, I don't know. Going back to let's see here, Thursday, February 13th, right? So it was after the Super Bowl. And for some reason, these two teams played each other 3 times in the last 4 games. That was a bloodbath, and the Thunder were really never in the game. They lost at Minnesota 116-101. And again, consider the Wolves have been without guys here, like key guys with that team in all of these spots. Then 2 nights ago, on Sunday night, that was a totally back-and-forth game. Oklahoma City got it big. Minnesota led at halftime. The best player in that game, Jalen Clark for the Wolves, got hurt, and they eventually lost by 7, but they covered the number. And then what happened last night is just completely inexplicable. So to my point about, I don't know, maybe we're all sleeping on the Wolves. Well, what if this team makes the playoffs and they get like OKC in the second round? Is this going to be a problem?
I don't think so. I do think, though, $1.10 to win the conference is outrageous. I agree with the Celtics.
I've had people say it should be minus $3.
Oh, wow. I think the inexperience and lack of big game experience is the one concern there. I don't have a problem with the $1.30, $1.20 with the Celtics when you see how they're taking teams apart. But I'm not that worried about Minnesota, but you could see maybe a Denver or especially a Lakers. Here comes Luka and LeBron in a 7-game series. Good luck, right? Where it's okay, well, you have size, but, we can do whatever we want. We have 2 of the best players in the league. That'd be the one concern there, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know what to do with Memphis. And Dallas, the point about Dallas is they're not afraid of them. Dallas will probably take the floor thinking they can win.
Sure.
After their history and what they've done. You get, P.J. Washington with an out-of-body experience. And we'll see what happens with Golden State. I recommend Golden State 5-1 to win the Pacific. Their schedule's easy the rest of the way. Maybe you're not there, but getting Butler, it's a good fit with Curry. Maybe Golden State could give them some issues. I don't know, but I would think.
I can't get there with that.
I would think Oklahoma City, though, should, other than maybe Denver or L.A.
No, I think Oklahoma City. To me, I think they take apart Denver.
Okay.
I think that's maybe a 5-game series. I think that's a really bad matchup for the Nuggets. The Warriors are 10-1 to win the West. Boy, that's an unbettable number. I'm not there. I think Thunder would blow them out. Grizzlies are intriguing. I don't know what the hell would happen there. I think the Thunder would have their ways with the Clippers.
Yep.
The Rockets, I think, are too young.
Yep.
But then I go back to the Lakers. Why can't the Lakers, if they play, let's say that's the Western Conference Finals. Let's get really, way down the line ahead of ourselves here. Remember last year when Oklahoma City was a machine and they played the Lakers, who were not that great? They had problems with L.A. every single time they played.
That was a size issue, though, too. But with Hartenstein now and with a healthy Chet, maybe that doesn't happen. But still, I have 3 legit scores. And if I'm playing lockdown defense, like I have been the last 15 games, then it's an interesting series. It might be in the second round. That could be your 1-4 matchup.
Could be.
Yep.
Could be. Do you think the Clippers give them problems?
No.
Neither do I.
They're really struggling now. And I just think Harden's going to run out of gas. This is what they do. They reel you in. They fool you. Hey, here we go. Okay. They go out in the first round.
Right. No, maybe we're talking about like 4 teams overall who can actually make the NBA Finals. I think the list is only 2 in the East. At this point, I would be stunned if it's not the Cavs or the Celtics.
Yeah.
And in the West, maybe that list is really not that long. Probably it's longer than 2, but how long overall is it? Up next, Jeff Seeley is going to join the program. We'll get a PGA Tour breakdown, golfers to look at this week on that tour coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy,